I'm starting with the color Light Peach from Prismacolor. If you've been following the previous tutorials at this point, it would be quite easy for you to identify the colors that I'm using since it's going to be repetitive since we're still on the same portrait. And this tutorial is going to be a good one. It's going to show you how I match skin tones and how I blend since we're starting on a fresh new part of the portrait and there's no base colors, it's just the plain white paper. So I'm setting down Light Peach from Prismacolor as the base and I'm just going to keep on going and filling in the grain of the paper. So this video is really good to use as a guide when you're trying to color lighter skin tones, and I'm going to try my best to blend this part of the portrait with the rest of the other features, especially focusing on the skin tones. Now I'm switching to a peach color from Prismacolor. Once again, I'm going to label the names of the colors in the corner just so it's easier to identify the pencils. I'm using the color beige now from Prismacolor, and while I'm coloring, I'm using light to medium pressure. So sometimes when I want to have a thicker layer of color, I'll press a little bit harder, but right now I am just using a pretty light pressure. If you don't know what type of pressure to use, just use light pressure because it's easier to fix your mistakes and you can layer more on top. So I'm using the color peach now. For the most part, all of the skin tone is colored using Prismacolor, so I'll be mentioning the brand of the pencil if it ever changes. I'm using the color Seashell Pink. This area is below the shadow of the eyeglasses, so we're going to fill that in afterwards, the shadow, and now I'm still using the color Seashell Pink, just a little bit below the nose. And I'm switching to Light Peach again just to change the tone. As I've mentioned before, that Seashell Pink is a little bit on the greener side. So I'm just using peach, the light peach color. I'm always using light peach as the base color. I'm back with Seashell Pink. Right now I'm trying to fill in the small holes of the paper that is still peeking through, so I'm using sort of medium pressure since we already have the layers of the base colors already down. I'm switching to the color peach again. As I'm coloring, I'm not really following an order or anything of the colors. Whenever I think that something looks too green, I'll have to balance it out and correct it using a peachier color like peach, this color that I'm using, to make it more on the pinkier side. And if I think it's too pink, then I'll switch back to seashell pink and bring back the green tones of the skin tone. So it's just going back and forth with those colors until you're able to match the color that you've already placed down. This is why I recommend using light pressure, so you can be able to go back and forth. If you use medium to hard pressure during the initial layers, you won't be able to go back and forth with the colors and try to fix the skin tone, since the layer is already too thick and color won't be able to show up that well. Using the color Seashell Pink again, and this is on the outer edge of the face. Switching to the color Light Peach, and I'll be layering on top of the Seashell Pink earlier. Now I'm using the color Nectar from Prismacolor. This is closer to the shadow of the glasses and also closer to the edge of the face, so more of a shadow is going to appear. I'm using the color Clay Rose, and I'll be layering on top of the Nectar color just to darken the shadow a little bit, since it was kind of too red. I'm going over that with Seashell Pink. I'm using the color peach. I'm using it to transition between the area of the shadow and the front of the face. I'm using the color light peach again, and I'm switched to the color beige. Using the color rosy beige on top of the beige color. I'm using the color peach again. I'm using it to layer on top of the rosy beige that we placed down earlier. I'm coloring using peach on the general area of the cheeks. So once again, I'm trying to match this area with this part of the skin that's right under the eye. I'm using the color Deco Peach now, just to layer on top of this area of skin. I'm switching to the color Peach. I'm trying to fill in more of the grain of the paper. So sometimes I'll use the point and I'll just dip it directly into the small little holes, and I'm using medium pressure this time, since if you use light pressure, your pencil is just going to like graze right over the little speck anyways, and you won't actually fill it in. So it's better if you just take the point and sometimes just color directly in that spot just to make sure that it's filled. And once it is, then you can move to another area using the color light peach, and now we're working directly underneath the eyes. I'm working on the skin towards the side of the glasses now. And you can see the gap that I've created. Now I'm filling it in with the color Nectar. And this is going to be the shadow, and you can see the connection between the top area of the skin and then towards the side of the cheeks, that there's like this line going down, and that's on purpose because that's where the shadow of the glasses appear. So making sure that both those areas connect. I noticed a small little gap between the side of the nose and the front part of the nose, so I'm just going to blend these two areas a little bit better and fill in some of the grain of the paper as well. Now I'm using the color peach. And you can still see some of the white specks of the paper, so I'm going to keep on layering until they disappear. I'm using the color Deco Peach. Now I'm using Seashell Pink. using the color Nectar into this area because it's going to be a pretty big shadow on the side of the face. And now I'm using burnt ochre just to darken the shadow a little bit. Specifically where there's going to be the shadow coming from the glasses. Going to keep on using the color light peach just to make the seashell pink layer that's underneath more on the pinkier side. We're using the rest of the light peach just to fill in more of the grain of the paper. At this point you can see where the skin tone is going, and all the base layers have been pretty much covered. And now the main focus is to keep on filling the skin tone and the paper until all the grain goes away. I'm using the color Nectar again because the upper part there's going to be a even bigger shadow since we're moving more closer towards the hair and we're still underneath the glasses. Actually, this is Caput Mortem Violet. I'm using it for the darker shadows underneath the glasses and moving towards the hair. And that was from Faber-Castell Polychromos. I'm using seashell pink to quickly layer in that part of the skin, and then I'm using nectar on top, or actually this is beige. I'm using beige on top. Then I switched to seashell pink again to fill in that small area of skin. Using nectar again to extend the shadowed area, and I'm creating this sort of gradient that you can see in the corner. I see some specks in the eye, so I could fill it in when I can. Now I'm starting to color in the area in between the glasses and the eyebrow, and I'm still using the color Nectar. It's going to be a pretty dark area since we're under the eyebrow. This area is going to be more in shadow, so we're starting off with a darker base color like Nectar. Now I'm using the color Venetian Red, and we're working with the shadow. This is more of a darker shadow, and it's kind of blocky, but it's a direct shadow coming from the glasses, or the bottom part of the glasses. This color is from Faber-Castell Polychromos, the Venetian Red. Now I'm using the color beige to fill in the small space between the skin and the shadow. Right now I'm trying to smooth out the skin a little bit more, so I'm fading out the shadow, I'm blending it out, and it's more of a subtle shadow on the side of the face.